where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness by Barrett Kunyan.
So here we are again, and we have two beautiful ladies here. Fran Bailey, welcome to the Activator platform. And also we have a beautiful co-host today joining us, and she has a beautiful name called Siren Wynn. Siren, thank you. This is our first time. We didn't go public with this reference to you being the co-host for future interviews for Activator. We'll make an announcement in due course, I'm sure. But thank you, Siren, as well, for turning up. And Fran Bailey, thank you so much. Yeah. To our beautiful viewers out there who's not too familiar with Fran Bailey's work, I had took the initiative to make some notes because I connected with your beautiful energy with reference to Kathy Mason from Conscious Business Zone, and she's been telling me about your amazing work, Fran. She mentioned, and I had the privilege of watching one of your interviews, and you've got this very powerful method, and it's called the Sheva Method, which apparently channeled to you in 2002, and you've been sort of working with that, nurturing it ever since, and you've been getting amazing results. To viewers that are not too familiar with your work, would you be kind enough just to give us a little rundown, a little profile of who you are and what you've been doing with your life? Would be a good place to start. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I started. Well, I grew up in a very metaphysical home, basically, and mind over matter. And I grew up as a Christian Scientist, and we believe that the body is the perfect instrument, and we didn't do a lot of meds. And, I also grew up in a very happy home with lots of music and dance. So my first career was a dancer and lots of music. And that's why I know the body so well. And I think I had a near-death experience at 12. And that sort of opened up my eyes to another world with not really knowing until I grew up a little bit further and brought all that information with me as far as something happened, something switched. You go through the tunnel, you come back, you jump back in your body, and you don't fear death. You just know something has shifted and changed. And so I was constantly being confronted with, different situations of knowing things, dreaming coming true, understanding the energy, understanding other people's energy, and just having this intrigue of, well, how does that happen? And, why does that work? I became a dancer, and I could hear music and feel my energy moving, and could understand that I didn't have to speak, but I could use my body to express itself. Yeah. And I really liked that. So, and then I began to, while I was teaching, sort of understand people's energy, and not knowing quite what I was doing until someone said, Fran, you can see energy. And I started training with a woman out of California. Her name was Rosalind Briere, incredible medical intuitive. And then I studied with some clairvoyant healers, John Friedlander and Gloria Hampshire, that deepened my meditation skills. And I had my father died of cancer. And I had 3 small children, and my husband was kind of in and out of town, and my body sort of said, I'm tired. And what happened is that I think my emotional upset was that I got cancer. So after he died a year, and I went, oh, isn't this interesting? This is my body telling me, you got to slow down. And so it was stage 4. And I said, well, this is an interruption, and this is my perfect system. So I'm going to work energetically. I'm going to learn how to do that. And with the help of Rosalind and other healers, I started doing energy work on myself with some medical assistance. And basically, that was the start of the method, where I actually killed the cancer cells and learned how to, and say that this is a body that can work for itself. And then the method in 2002, that name came to me. And so it's about action. It's about the body. It's about meditation. It's about understanding the personality. I studied Enneagram, which is the study of personality. So all those things are in one. And it's taken me quite a few years to figure out what Sheva really actually means. So the method has sort of been pulled together in the past. I wrote a book in 2019, 18. And that's sort of, the Enneagram was sort of the closure, so to speak, that we have our ego and our personality speaks to us to move into resistance. If we move out of resistance, then we can look at the body, we can look at the mind, we can look at the heart and the soul. So all those components are in one method.
That's really powerful. That's Siren, I was going to say, do you have any questions you want to present as well to lovely Fran as well with this method? Because I believe that this method is new to you, right, Siren?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it feels very, from what I'm feeling of what you're sharing, it feels very intuitive of the understanding of all the different facets and layers. So with the movement, I think I read on your YouTube or on your website about the acupuncture, and I was wondering if like what sparked parts of the download. Was it the different like lines per se, the different meridians and the different energy lines that guide you for the movement and those kinds of things?
Well, so I became an energy healer. So I was skilled and trained through Rosalind, and I worked for an alternative center for 12 years as an energy healer. So along with the MDs, acupuncturists, and chiropractors, I was the energy end. So I would work the body and understand that the energy coming from my feet was also in my hands. So that I learned about the meridians, I learned about the acupressure points. So I combined the knowledge of me as a dancer and the muscles and how to release the pain and how to release the energy with the concept of, oh, well, we can do this to ourselves. So I'm going to teach you how to run energy in each center, like the heart, with the fingertips, where they go specifically, how to open up the heart and the lungs and to release grief. And the idea that, pressure point on the shin is liver and gallbladder and all those things. So that the flow of energy is taught to the student client so that they can understand their own flow of energy or lack of flow of energy. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, do you want to add a bit more to that, Siren, or question?
No, not at this time.
Right, this time. No, because I'm also feeling that reference to what you're saying. Do you find that a lot of the blockages are on a emotional, mental, and do you also find that with certain breathing techniques, do you find that has a play in releasing the flow of the chi?
Yes.
So it's not one particular. It's a combination coming together, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. For instance, if there is someone who's, lost a partner or is going through a divorce, let's say they're going through a divorce, and that's a loss. So number one, a loss is a loss is a loss is a loss, whether it's a partner, whether it's an organ, whether it's cancer, whether it's any of those those things. So you look at, the lung is grief. So you want to address that, not come in too hard, but understand the emotional component of where that person is in the direction of what their life is, where their life is taking them. Like, for instance, a divorce person who wants to let go of that partner and can't move on is corded to that person. So I go to, there are two things that happen. There's anger, fear, and then finally grief. Those three components are always simultaneous. And I don't jump into the grief. I go from the anger to the fear to the grief. So once they let go of those two components, then we address the grief and the sorrow. Then there's release. Then there's change. Then there's a hello to that person where they are without any guilt or shame. So that's really, really important, because they're they feel guilty or there's shame, and that is just, then the third chakra shuts down, then the whole body shuts down. So addressing those things wherever you are in your life is important to acknowledge and not be embarrassed about it or judgmental.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I mean, the late great Louise Hay.
Yeah.
A lot of her stuff really resonates, and particularly the one that is it anger that is it the liver? Liver. And a lot of people have this because when you kind of go to the root cause, the level of trauma from childhood wounds, it sort of paves the way from there onwards. And if you want to go deeper into this, you go into the DNA, because you can go on the conceiving aspect of the whole process, and looking at the ancestral parents as well, the mood, the frame, how they program their genes. Without sidetracking, I mean, Katrina, my partner, we've been together 29 years, not married. We didn't need to institutionalize our love, but all respect to those who have. We were very conscious of getting into this frame of mind of being happy, getting out of that system where you feel, you're sort of feeling down a little bit, the energies are down. So we kept our energies as high as possible, and the results were absolutely phenomenal. Bless our beautiful son, John, if he's watching. He's 21 now. But the biofeedback we got was incredible. Everyone said, what an incredible child you have. I mean, but credit to the fact that we were very, very conscious of what we were when you go into the biology, the chemistry, everything. And even while Katrina was pregnant, do you remember, sweetie? Yes, I love singing. So I would sing to her when she was pregnant. So it was such a cozy, incredible connection. So, yeah, but coming back to this trauma, I mean, a lot of children are traumatized because we've got this thing called a natural law, and you've got the artificial aspect of the law. And with a lot of children are being sort of born in an atmosphere where it's not natural in hospitals and things. So do you think that has an effect as well on the overall temperament of the child?
Yeah, I believe so. And I think it depends on how much with my own children, I always encourage them to believe in the positive, and that energy of love is present all the time. But I think I use these words a lot in my work, that it's the should, the have to, and the ought that we as humans get caught in, and the ego gets caught in. And if we as parents get caught into what the child has to do and should do and ought to do, then we're just programming it right back into them. And if we are conscious enough and wise enough to even notice that we are doing that, at the same time watching our kids push away, or they are the teacher, basically. The teacher is the child. And then so if you realize, oh my gosh, I need to pull myself back and look at this child from a place of observation to see what this beautiful being is becoming, so that I don't impose my energy on that being. We're surrounded by what we have to do and what we should do. And so being awake and conscious of something else gives that opportunity for growth. Now, as far as, imprinting from generations and all that, and how that child evolves, that's part of the intrigue, but also the scariness of where they really came from, So it's fascinating to kind of look at the full picture and see, wow, maybe I can shift that, maybe I can't,
Yeah. So thank you for that. And so you're also adding an element of regression, because do you feel when one is looking at the origin or whatever it is that they need to release, do you think past lives has a play in the very context of the overall temperament of who you are, what you are, and maybe a lot of the misalignments that's there? Because without sidetracking too much, I mean, what I do as a bioactivator is I bring people to a place where I create a place where people can chill out, so they can feel relaxed, they feel welcome, and they feel that there's an air that they can trust, a place where they can be themselves, because a lot of people don't actually know who they are,
right?
And I think we're going to have a conversation now, because that's why I went into podcasting, because why do you open your eyes, and what is it you're opening your eyes to? Because a lot of people, my day begins with gratitude, because I've become so conscious and how I observe myself and the people and beings around me. But a lot of people are not that way inclined. So a lot of people, they're open, they wake up, God only knows what they say to themselves.
Yeah.
Do you feel this initiation of each day, a new beginning, starts with grace, joy, happiness? Because if you're not that way, you're going to attract those sort of frequencies, right? So
right.
It's imperative, I think, isn't it?
Oh,
and I think
absolutely.
you're a great ambassador for this.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there? If there, there are two things that happen, or choices that you can make when you wake up in the morning. You can actually sort of track maybe what you did the night before, if you were kind of a restless sleep or in the dream state. Of course, all my healing stuff comes from the dream state usually. So, what is it that I'm learning today? What is it that I'm gifted today? What is it that I need to share today? What is it that I need to not reevaluate, or I'd say upgrade? What is it in my energy that I need to upgrade in order to present the truth, in order to present love? What is the frequency today? It is fascinating to me that we can do that. And even with the word gratitude, there is that element and that framework to discover.
Yeah. I mean, when I watched one of your interviews, you were talking about great way of raising your frequency is movement,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that you're a great dancer. I've never had the privilege of see you move or anything, but that's one of the techniques that you use, right, to get people. Because I love singing, for example. I mean, I think that's a great way, and obviously to make people smile.
Right.
So there are different modalities that one can use. Do you feel that you encompass it all? Do you do a full on spectrum of all these modalities into the field, into the play? I mean, there could be some people that would say, I'm not really into dancing, but everyone can dance. Everybody can do some kind of movement, right? So is this what you're encouraging people? And the other question, if I may, is can you do a lot of this work online, remotely, or in an ideal world, would you prefer them to be in your company per se?
Right. Well, it's the two different applications. I mean, of course, through COVID, I had to do this, because I wanted to continue the work, and that's really where I really refined the body work so that people could do it on their own. And the other part of me, yes, when it's live, I move very fast. It's like this. I move fast in a Zoom too if I'm working on one person at a time. But in a room, for instance, I've been hired to teach medical students movement and energy and healing. Okay, so those are all the three components. So I had these med students, and there were like 20 of them, and I had like 40 minutes to do a warm up. So I did all this really funky music and very calming music and very exciting music, current music, in order for them to sort of, whoever would like whatever piece of music they liked, it would hit some of them. But before they knew it, by the end of the class or the movement class, they were moving across the floor like nobody's business. They had no idea the speed in which everything changed and shift. Because it's all about choreography. It's just like life.
Yeah. It's
timing. It's a breath. It's, oh my God, I'm dancing. It's all of those things in one. And then, so they're moving, and then they're in meditation, lying down and looking at their chakras. And then after that, they ask about energy. And it's like, okay, now you begin to understand that you're in your body, you're out of your body, staying in your body while you're looking outside of your body, understanding there's a tension here, you're holding your breath here, or you are finding a color of the chakra, or you're saying hello to your higher self, so this all happens within an hour and a half. And they changed in that hour and a half. I give them that, and then I ask them questions, but they're changed. And so it's just like a dance piece or a really good piece of music that is shared collectively.
Yeah.
There's another kind of awareness, basically.
Yeah. So ask a silly question, but when you're doing this holistically, it's a one-to-one session. It's difficult to devise like a group of 5 in a room. So this is a one-to-one personal.
Yeah, on a Zoom, it's one-to-one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And depending on what they need, and the clients are all different. Either they're cancer, heart, or divorce, or change of jobs. Or yesterday I had a young girl, was 33, who is in a law firm suing Trump.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow is right. She's surrounded by narcissists, and I have to ground her and clear her so she can keep doing it. So that's a totally different, tremendous kind of very fast, very, I would say, how do I say that? Because she's so smart, I have to work really, really fast in order to understand that she's in her own being, in her own energy, and then she has to be a warrior and stay present to what she's there for and not let a narcissist come in her way. So we're talking about a triple whammy thing that she has to do. And my responsibility is that she can do it and stay grounded and be present in her femininity and her femaleness and her brilliance. And those are the different demands, you know.
Yeah. If we look at the word cancer, how would you define what cancer is? Because I've had a great mentor. I'll give my interpretation, if it's possible, to share with
Sure.
viewers as well. But what's your interpretation? What exactly is cancer?
Well, I think we all, whatever is popular this, this generation, it could be cancer. 300 years ago could have been something else, and it's turned into this word now. I think we all have cancer cells. I think we all have different immune system. I think if our emotional component, our weakness in our emotional world is present and we don't have the defense, then that's an opportunity for something else to take its place. I believe that it's an interruption. I don't think you can befriend cancer and acknowledge it and say hello to it, but don't become it.
Yeah. Do you feel that if one's body is in an alkaline state rather than an acidic, and acidic state of beingness usually comes from bitterness, anger, all these words that cause an acidic environment, whereas with alkalinity or being alkaline, it's being in that playful, joyous, happy being.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's very simple to repair if it's a lot of it's psychosomatic? It's the software, it's the level of programming, it's the fear mongering that the way humanity's been kept captive for such a long time. And if I'm throwing loads of questions now, but how important also is your attitude to what you consume? Let's start with food first, because there's a very powerful energy aspect of how we engage with people, and people will influence us, of course, energetically. But just looking at on a cellular level, reference to you are what you eat to a point. So what you're consuming, and if you're not very mindful and you're putting loads of sugars and artificial this, artificial that, not proper organic type foods, how serious is that on the body?
Well, I think sugar is the worst. Is the worst, absolute worst thing you can consume. And for the past couple years, we have been certainly cutting back on sugar and carbs, and it just produces an energy that's just, you can just feel it when you cut back on sugar, even with carbs. Like I thought, I won't eat wheat or gluten, but I'll eat rice. and rice is full of sugar.
Yeah.
And no wonder I wasn't feeling well. It just, my body is so sensitive to gluten, wheat, and all those things. And the minute I sort of figured it out, it was just so much better. My mood was better. My energy is better. My, how do I say, flow of energy was better, so that I could understand, if there's something just a little bit off, let's look at that and notice it, and then cut back on that to the point of, that was what it was. So my body doesn't, the body doesn't lie. That's in my book. The body will respond if you listen. Energetically or psychically, we either feel, hear, see, or know. The body has its own intelligence in itself, and that's what we must respect in order for health to move forward.
So we're saying there's a biofeedback. The early signs will tell a story, and if people start ignoring, because for me, what is your interpretation of the word pain? Because a lot of people, they're not comfortable with pain, and the whole industry, the pharmaceutical industry, not being too disrespectful, they have this ability to suppress pain. Mm-hmm. Most people don't want to go through the process of understanding the signs, the communication with yourself, with your soul, with your energetic, with your emotional, mental, and spiritual. There seems to be a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to our viewers as well, reference to pain, how to deal with pain? Because a lot of it, people think it's a physical pain, but it could be an emotional pain that people are not actually dealing with it. They kind of push it away, and then they'll say, I'll come back to you in a week or two, but they forget, and then it just builds up over time.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give people to be present with their pain, not needing to push it away? Why does anyone want to push pain away? Because it's quite a scary place to be. Can this be nurtured? Can we talk a little bit about making pain more bearable for people, so people understand pain?
Yeah.
You don't need to fear pain. Just confront it in the most loving way, and to be present.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that pain actually shows us the answer, which means that if you acknowledge it and know that, where it is, at the same time, not fear it, then you know that if you pass through it, or if you say, okay, there it is, I'm going to push it through, energetically, I'm going to say hello to it. What is it that I'm missing? That pain is still there. That's an acknowledgement. What am I missing? So that is intelligence. That's body intelligence, which brings you connected to your psyche, connected to your resistance. Pain is resistance. It's that simple. Interestingly enough, there are a lot of people out there who need to have pain in order to feel that they exist.
Wow, that's a good way of seeing it.
They need the pain because it keeps them here. Otherwise, they don't want to be here. It keeps them here. So it's fascinating to me. Somebody like with fibromyalgia, who is constantly moving the energy moves through their body, and they're in so much pain all the time. And this is an observation that I've had, and I don't know if I'm correct, or I don't know if this is what I see. Someone with pain, and you do energy work on them, and it's released, and then it comes back. What I see is they release the pain, they go out and get it and bring it back in.
That's interesting.
It is just the oddest thing, because that's control. They want control.
Right.
There's fear if they let go of the pain. What are they going to put in place? Love? You know, that's where the breath is, right? That's where the breath is. Interesting.
Very interesting. Have you heard of the term called phantom pain? Have you heard of this word? It's called phantom pain. What it is, it's unresolved pain, and you can revisit the past if you're present moment right now. If you're really happy right now, and you understand the essence of who you are, you no longer play this game of victimhood, and you understand unconditional love, blah, blah, blah. You can go back to a point in your life where there was friction, there was a bit of chaos. And what you do is you thank that experience, because what you are today, you had to endure a particular lesson, which helped take the particular point that you're in at this observation. Because what we like to think, or we're beyond thinking, but where I work with the energies is, and I think, Siren, you might agree with this, I don't know, but it's like when you're present, you're having this incredible experience where your left brain, your right brain, you bring it into some kind of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And because there is a symbiotic relationship with the yin and the yang. If you're consciously creating, then you work the positive and the negatives, and you take greater ownership. You're responsible in how you're cultivating it. Because my personal movement, and I know I'm speaking to Siren and yourself, my lovely Fran, is to embody cause no harm, cause no loss, do not impose on the freedom of others, and understand the real law. And we call this natural law.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you become more aligned with the natural law, then you're going to fuel your body with the right foods. For example, how you interact with people, for example, you become very much conscious of how you're affecting their mood, their attitude. What kind of impressions are you leaving? Are you a game changer? Are you raising the game, or are you lowering the game? So this fabulous form of exchange is the real intrinsic. This is what we call the real intrinsic value, from my understanding, which is energy. How do we energize? And from what I'm also feeling from you as well, it begins with self first, because that's how you're going to engage with other beings. But that's really interesting about the food aspect as well. There's a big movement reference to the vegan movement. I mean, without getting into sticky conversation, because I'm one of those people, I don't like the divide and rule. I don't like one and this and that and this, that, and the other. I like to call it plant-based diet. Do you feel that a plant-based diet is a good diet? Does it give all the nourishment the body can take? Or do you feel that it's important to occasionally or all the time eat dairy products and animal products? How does that sit with you? Do you think it's significantly important
Well,
types?
I think that, I think you can play with both.
Okay.
I really do. I think that fundamentally, if you study your body and what you can go back to a certain diet, but you can go off of it and bring in protein and different things to, support your body. I think if you play with it and use your intelligence and understand what's right for you, then I think all is valid.
Yeah. No, that's good. Sarah, do you want to ask a question at all?
Well, the different layers of energy being all, in all things, is how are we honoring our intuition, and what ways, what modalities for each person is going to get us to that place where we do that. So, for example, say movement, sound, dance, feeling what our body is expressing, because, if our body is having an experience an ailment, it's going to get louder, right? So if there's something that's out of harmony, is misaligned, it's going to just, knock, whisper, knock, get louder, louder, louder to say there's something out of alignment in whatever way it will. And all these varying modalities exist to help each person find their way back to honoring themselves so they can be in alignment and then ultimately express their joy, their love, their true self. And that's what I'm feeling into what you're sharing. And also the food aspect I find interesting too, because that's of course energy. So getting those, say hyper fixated on the different definitions of what is that, or where did it come from, or what classification is really what thoughts you have about the thing, right? So if you have a thought about the thing before you're ingesting it, whether it's true or not, it makes it a thing in your body. So through and as we're all working with these different things in our own ways, we're discovering, right, that whatever we think about it is what's creating the thing, or however we're thinking about, say emotions or anything that's stored. It's even the thought about how we're categorizing the it that makes it a thing. It's not really the thing itself, say cancer or, meat or, all these other things, as classification. And we're all unlayering and unboxing ourselves, in waves. So I don't particularly have a question, just a parallel observation that the magnitude of each person coming into those awarenesses of themselves in these moments, that anything that's been created can be dissolved, and we're all energy healers, right? We're all able to dissolve these things once we acknowledge and we see them. We can feel and turn our intuition on and allow ourselves to feel, listen, and honor. What is that? What are we hearing? What are we feeling? How can we fine tune or shift what we're ingesting, whether it's, food, time, energy? How are we offering that? How are we revising that? Or if something feels stuck, can we move, like physically move out of it? Because it doesn't have to look a certain way, right? Like when you're working with people, it's like when you're getting them into honoring and listening their body, it's like, well, it doesn't have to look a certain way. It's like, how are you moving your energy and honoring yourself in the processes?
Yeah, I think there's that's why meditation is a big component of my work as well, because it's really the check-in. You can move, and then the meditation of staying in the body and connecting to the higher self and acknowledging the intuition, at the same time trusting that intuition. We don't trust it. So as you expand your ability to really say hello to your intuition, at the same time stay grounded and present to the body's language, then there's that extra component to actually clear any more resistance to what it is the thing that you're acknowledging or resisting to. So I think that's I like that word check-in, because it's that's what it is. So good.
I don't mind. Yeah, excellent. I was going to say, is there a particular objective for, let's say, the average human or somebody who's pretty conscious or super or semi-conscious? Is there an objective where they want to end up in life? For example, to get more enlightened, to become more conscious, aware? Because you said a lot of people, do you not trust yourself? I mean, because you're leaving markers, you're leaving sort of signatures, so you're getting feedback. You're seeing how you're affecting the mood, the atmosphere, the people around you. Isn't that a very powerful barometer? Because if you're creating an air of acidity, on reflection is what's happening within your vessel. It's sort of projecting outwardly. So the kinder you are to yourself, the more you spend with yourself, you'll harm. So if you're in harmony, you'll notice the environment is more harmonized. Yeah. Does that make sense? So
yes. Again, there are just different stages of healing, of a healer. There's the healer that, thinks they know a lot, and the ego steps in and they've figured it out, or they think they have. And then there's the healer who wakes up and says, okay, I've healed this person and then done that person. And so what happens to me is that if I move out of the way and allow that person to come forward, meaning that they own what they are doing, which means healing is a suggestion. An opportunity is a suggestion. If the client or student wishes to take it and use it for themselves, if they are not engaged in a part of it, it will not last.
Yeah.
It will not last. So that's really, really, really important that that you give space, time, and energy to that person to be who they want to be. Yeah, just kind of like what I'm doing right now. Just, that kind of, it's interesting.
It is. If I may, I mean, we're losing track of time, but I was going to say that in the last 20 odd years, you've been practicing this wonderful healing modality technique. Have you seen healthy signs in humanity that gives you the feeling that people are raising their game? There is a powerful shift of consciousness, that there's more unison, we're becoming more aligned with each other's. Genuinely, there's more empaths now, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that as you said, the thing is, the veil is thinning.
Yeah.
So those choices are becoming more available. And so with that availability, there's more question and there's more intrigue. Yeah. And intrigue is the creativity. When there's intrigue, there's that's the energy of creating, right? You're intrigued. You have desire to know and understand, or try to understand what is it that it's bringing, whatever that's bringing. So
brilliant. Do you sort of encourage people to do any forms of affirmations or anything like that? Do you think affirmations are important?
I do.
You do? Are there special ones that you want to highlight with us today, or yeah?
You know, the minute the self-talk comes in and doubts your quest, put it on the back shelf and just acknowledge that self-doubt may be there, but when you want to go deeper and deeper and deeper, the self-doubt has to leave in order for the creation of love to be present, and the creation of finding who you really are needs to be present, which is submission, vulnerability, understanding the human condition, that we all have faults and we all slip off sometimes, but we can forgive ourselves and others for doing so.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And where can we find more information about what you do? Do you have a website?
I have a website, franbaileyhealer.com, and there's a whole free download of my method, sort of the introduction of the method, that's free. Yes. Really easy just to get started on reevaluating your life and asking the questions and actually tapping into intrigue of, where you are and what this world means to you and where you are in it. And, and then there's private, I work in threes. So like if somebody wants a really dramatic change, I usually say, get a package of 3, and then you'll do tune-ups after that. So if you want a big change in your life, you see me for 3 sessions. And then there's all kinds of meditations you can purchase, all kinds of like karma cleansing and, chakra clearing. And, there's some new ones. I can't remember them right now. But anyway, there's all kinds of fun things to play with on the site.
Beautiful. Well, it's been wonderful sharing space with you.
Yes, both of you. Wonderful.
We look forward. Yeah, we look forward to the start of beautiful connections. I'm sure. And how well do you know Kathy Mason? Because I believe you're friends, right?
Yeah, we went to high school together.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Now, talk about synchronicity. We were supposed to come back for a high school reunion or whatever. It was all girls, so she couldn't come. And a friend of mine said, "Well, you got to hook up with Kathy because she does all the stuff that you do." And I went, "Really? I didn't know that." So I called her and she said, "I'm an alchemist." I said, "Oh my God." I was dreaming the same thing she was, because I knew we were going to talk. So she's this, we went, "Oh, have mercy. How come we didn't know this?"
Wow.
But we grew up in we were really, really rebellious. I think half of our class has this ability. I don't know. But anyway, it's been a joy, and she's something. She's the best.
She is. And well, I'd just like to thank you, and I'm sure, Siren, would you like the last few words as well, just to bless Fran as well for wonderful work as well? It's commendable what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a joy to meet you. And I know we're all doing the work we're supposed to, and God bless you and the work that you're doing. And,
Thank you so much. Yeah. Keep well, and we'll catch up again. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say, if you want to wait in the studio afterwards, I'll have a quick chat as well. And then to our beautiful viewers, much love.
Much love to you guys. Take care.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and gratitude.